the Jacob Blake virtual walk. My name is Laura Valderrama, and I am deeply humbled to have been asked to moderate today's call. I represent We Will Win, which is an online platform that aims to spotlight the social justice work that activists, organizations, and elected officials are doing across the state of Wisconsin. Activists from Kenosha, Wisconsin have been marching since midnight from Kenosha to Milwaukee. The trip is 34 miles long and will take over 11 hours to complete. The goals of the march are to continue to demand justice for Jacob Blake and to bring awareness to the fact that today marks early in-person voting in Wisconsin. In the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump won Kenosha County by just 255 votes. The Blake family is asking voters to make sure their voices are heard in this election and are asking to help to vote Trump out. Vote Trump Out is a campaign run by Roots Action Network, which aims to convince voters in swing states to vote for the Democratic nominee in order to defeat Trump. You can learn more at votetrumpout.org. The world reacted in horror when Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back by a Kenosha police officer. This injustice is just one example of far too many who've suffered or lost their lives at the hands of the broken and racist criminal justice system. Today, we stand in solidarity with the Blake family and send them strength and gratitude for all the work they're doing in the name of justice. On the ground, we have Olivia Crudup and Erica Ness, who helped organize the walk and today's virtual call. They are with Justice for Jacob organizers Tanya McLean and Greg Bennett, who are organizers in Kenosha and are friends with the Blake family. Olivia and Erica, how has the walk been going for you all?
Hello, Laura. Thank you for the amazing introduction. The walk has been amazing thus far. As you said, we got kicked off at midnight, and we've been marching strong ever since. We've had a good crowd of about 70 or so people, give or take. We got, people marching. We got people caravanning. If you can kind of see, we got a really great chants going. We've got, music. We have people from all around the state, all around the country here joining us in our mission. So we're super happy. Thank you so much for hosting this event. We're excited to share with the world all of the incredible work that we've been doing today to get out the vote and get people to make sure their voices are heard in the streets and at the ballot box. So, with that, here again, we're out here passing through Oak Creek right now, and I will give it to Tanya to speak a little bit more about the mission and get us started.
Hey, Tanya.
How are you guys? We got a super excited crowd out here, so thank you for having us. Thank you so much for hosting this. We appreciate you.
Thank you for organizing this incredible event. I'm just in awe. We are all just in awe of the energy that you bring. How are you feeling?
I'm good. We got rough around 3:30ish or so because I've been up for 24 hours, but everything's good. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else right now with everyone. The energy is great. We're just out here. We think people are understanding what's happening, the importance of what today means, the first day to go early vote. We need people at the ballots, the box. We need them out there today. It's important, as well as to continue to shine light on the social injustices that are happening by our police and to keep Jacob's name out here. We want justice for Jacob. So I'm feeling good.
Absolutely. And are you all staying hydrated and fed to make sure
Yes, we are. Our RV has tons of stuff in it, snacks, food, fruit, juices, Gatorade. Yeah, so people came prepared. We haven't had any injuries or anything like that. So it's been good. It's been really good.
That's great. Thank you so much. And are you or Greg? Is Greg also going to be speaking?
Because it's a safety thing. Now we coming.
Say that again, Laura.
Is Greg also going to be speaking?
Yes, he is. You ready for him? Yeah. Thanks again, everybody. We appreciate
Thank you,
you.
Tanya.
Thank you for
We're
getting
with
this out here
you.
and getting attention nationally.
We're gonna stay right here. Everybody got this side. We're gonna let that. I need that in the front.
You want 2 lanes?
Is the battery?
Yeah.
I can't hear it. Hey, how y'all doing?
Stay here. Stay here.
All right, so you see the vision, right?
These racists got to go. Take it to the street.
Bring it in and let's stay behind.
And
tight.
it's fun.
Keep it tight behind the truck.
All right, so
Keep it tight.
today's about unity and togetherness, right? True leaders actually unite people. They don't divide people. We don't really, like, we get the voting and the early voting, but it's about actually uniting people in peace. You see the police in front of us, you see the police in back of us. Real leaders actually properly prepare, and they actually do the logistics and strategy correctly. They don't divide a country, they unite a country. We want people to understand that they can go vote, and we want them to use their voice. If they're not on supervision, then they are felons. They can still vote. They don't have that education. This walk is to not only bridge the gap between Kenosha, Racine, and Milwaukee, but we're the #1 state for incarceration of African American males. That is what we're showing, that all 3 cities can come together and unite instead of being divided like this president is doing. We are as far as we want everybody to be who they are, but be it right. A true leader don't do that. You don't divide a country. You unite. And just like anybody else on probation, if you're still in your probationary first time and you didn't do your job right, then you gotta step down. We're not for left or right. We tell the citizens to walk a straight line, but then we choose left and right. That makes us more hypocritical. We gotta actually vote for the person that's gonna do the right thing for the people, by the people. You feel me? We have to do that. We want them to walk a straight line, but we say, hey, are you gonna choose left or right? Just do what's right for the people. They deserve it. This is what democracy looks like. And right now, this is worse than the Sunnis and Shiites in Iraq when I was in Baghdad. This is still division. When you should all be fighting for peace, unity, and love. The social justice. We're the #1 state for incarceration of African American males. Minnesota's #2. You think that's coincidental? That's systemic racism, and we're still not even admitting. Of course, people aren't going to say that Black Lives Matter when it's a true statement, Black and Brown Lives Matter, but it's African Lives Matter because we're actually descendants in Africa. You know what I'm saying? We are not from here. The Americans aren't from here. The natives are from here. So we're technically Africans living in America. That's why they haven't embraced us. That's why they steadily kill us. And that's why we steadily got to make these walks and put pen to paper and actually change laws that way, because we need somebody that's actually going to understand that Black isn't a race. You know what I'm saying? You know your whole heritage is stolen on us. So we're asking everybody to go vote. We're asking everybody to go vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just use your voice. You can't complain to me if you haven't used your voice. At least try. You know what I'm saying? Vote. I'm going to keep it real with you. A spoiled kid, if you keep giving that spoiled kid attention, he's going to keep getting more attention. You have to let that child, what they call them, the jesters in class, if you turn around and look at him, what he does, what the jester do? They act even more, they act even more, and act even more. Oh, you showing me attention. Thanks for showing me attention. Don't show him no attention and watch him go away and be silent. You're giving him too much. This is about voting for more than just the presidential seat. It's about the electoral votes. It's about the local. It's about everything, right? We can't keep giving that kid attention. We have to focus on the actionable items that we can actually change. We need to change the actual people that's controlling the seat. And then change everybody's vision. Ain't no way every police department, every sheriff's department from Kenosha to now, and all the way to the end, all coordinated with me. All agreed, yes, we need to unite. We need to change the narrative. We do. And they notice that. And these are some strong Republicans. These are some strong Democrats, but they know what wrong is. And technically, he's just wrong. And until you admit you're wrong, then you're a part of the problem, not the solution. And we need a solution. The United States of America needs a solution. And it's not him. But you can't say his name like Candyman in the mirror, like Rumpelstiltskin. You get what I'm saying? Then he's gonna appear on you. So don't say his name. Say what we need to do. We need the vote. It's crazy. I ran for alderman 2016, 2018. 6,100 people in my district, only 191 people total voted. You get what I'm saying? Between me and the incumbent, only 191 out of 6,100. That's why we're out here. I'm running for mayor 2024. I'm guaranteeing my life is a campaign. Since 2014, it can't just be election time. Stand on the platform that you say you're gonna do and give us and actually help the people like you promised you're gonna do. Otherwise, I don't care what party you're with. You'll get out of there too, okay? So please, continue to support. I love that y'all are here with us. This is beautiful. But if racism was on this street today, they would change their mind. Because this is gorgeous. This is what unity looks like. Y'all have a great day, okay?
Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you for everything that you're doing and for your powerful work. We're with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next we have the Senator Nina Turner. I just have to say we are just so excited to have you on this call today. I believe you're calling in from Ohio. We're just so grateful that we do have this technology that allows us to be together and to show solidarity with the folks in Kenosha. Senator Turner, what is your reaction to what you just heard from Greg and Tanya, who are marching?
Well, thanks, Laura, so very much. And it's such a pleasure to join all of you. Greg was speaking truth. I really was laser focused on when he talked about peace and love and leadership. And the fact that it is so vitally important that people get out to vote. Shout out to the Blake family and them pushing very hard that people get out to vote. I know, Laura, you had mentioned that early voting just started. Is that correct? Early voting has started, so people have to get out there. They got to get out there and vote. Pardon me, I got my special advisor in the background. Y'all know how this is going. On behalf of Roots Action, this is not just for what is happening in Kenosha. This is about what's happening all over the world, that people are rising up and asking for justice. Justice socially, economically, politically, environmentally. It is time. And so the fact that people are taking the opportunity to go out into the streets and make their voices heard all over this country and all over this world is a beautiful thing. You know, there is nothing new under the sun. And so this is our generation's challenge. This is our moment to make crooked paths straight. I want to borrow a few words from the great unionist Asa Philip Randolph, and he said these words: "At the banquet table of nature, there are no reserved seats. You get what you can take and you keep what you can hold. If you can't take anything, you won't get anything. And if you can't hold anything, you won't keep anything. And you can't take anything without organization." And that is what this moment is about. Organize, organize, organize. And when we are done organizing, we will organize some more. My dear friend, Michael Render, AKA Killer Mike, said that we must plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize, and capitalize. And that cycle repeats itself over and over and over again. So it's Kenosha today. It'll be some other place tomorrow. We must understand very clearly that justice is not a destination. Every single generation must pick up that mantle and to continue to fight for itself and for the next. The great Reverend Dr. Otis Moss Jr. said to me one day when I was feeling down in 2014, I was running for Secretary of State, and I just could not believe how people were just suppressing the vote. Elected leaders in office, namely Republicans, but Democrats got some answering to do as well. But he said the struggle is forever, so we are forever in the struggle. And sisters and brothers, I want you to carry that with you. The struggle is forever, so we are forever in the struggle. What do you mean, Sister Senator? I mean that we who believe in freedom cannot rest. That was Sister Ella Baker. That's it and that's all. And so once we reconcile ourselves to that notion that it is our moral responsibility to do what we can where we are with what we have and to be a part of the change that we want to see in the world. If we all do our part, if we all put a little extra on our ordinary, extraordinary things will begin to happen. Part of that for this particular election cycle is making sure that we get out there to vote. Mad as hell, go vote. Disappointed, go vote. But whatever you do, go vote. And then after you vote, just understand that that is just the first part of the process. It's the beginning of the process. It is not the end of the process. We must continue to be actively engaged at all times. So again, big love and support and prayers and action. Because some people want to talk about, no, faith without works is dead. So it's all right to pray, but we got to get to work. Mix those two things together, we get good change. But my love and thoughts and prayers are going to the Blake family, to all the activists in the streets today. Thank you. For people who are supporting this movement in other ways, thank you. We must slay neo-fascism first, and baby, we coming for the neoliberals after that. So God bless the 21st century freedom fighters, and let's keep on keeping on.
Thank you so much, Senator Nina Turner. You just always are such a light and a motivator. Every time you speak, I get goosebumps. So thank you so much for being with us today and for your words of encouragement, not just for today, like you said, we're forever in the struggle. So we're going to keep on forever.
Thank you so very much. God bless you all.
God bless you too. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Bree Carlson, who is calling in from Long Beach, California. She serves as the Deputy Director of People's Action. Bree, what message do you have for the people of Kenosha and for folks tuning in at home?
So many messages. I'm sending so much love from everybody at People's Action. We're standing with the folks who are marching in Kenosha today, and across Wisconsin and across the country and across the world to make real change in what we think of as public safety. When I was a little girl, I remember my mom was driving me home late at night from daycare evening care, after she got off a long swing shift, and the police pulled us over and pulled my mom out of the car at gunpoint because they were looking for 2 male Black robbers. There is no such thing as safety for Black people in this country, and I would argue the world. This is the largest uprising in the history of the United States, and we will stay on the streets and in the voting booth until we make the change we need. This is not a problem of bad apples. This is not a problem of a couple of mean cops. It's systemic. That's why we see it over and over and over. There's no community in our country where Black people are safe. There's no community in our country where people are safe until we reimagine public safety. What we're working with now is a police department and a police system that was designed to keep racism in place. What we need is a system designed to create public safety that works for the public, that works for all of us. So we are over the moon about the march. It's amazing. I'm heartbroken that I can't be there. This pandemic is hurting all of us in 1,000 ways. But we are standing with you. Do not stop. Everybody needs to vote early as you can. And everybody needs to stay in the streets until we win. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bree. We greatly appreciate you calling in from California. as you said, this pandemic is hurting us in 1,000 ways, but one thing that we are grateful for today is the technology that allows us to stand in solidarity with the folks in Kenosha, no matter where we're calling from. So again, thank you so much. Up next, we have Andre Walton, who is an organizer with Our Wisconsin Revolution. Andre, can you tell us a bit about Our Wisconsin Revolution, what message you'd like to share with the people of Kenosha and folks who are watching?
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for the introduction, Laura. And thank you for all the people who are protesting today. You guys been going really hard. I've been at a few of those protests. There's always a lot of energy, a lot of love. So thank you guys for being out there. And what our Wisconsin Revolution want to do is we want to create a political revolution. We want to put people in office who are ready to represent everyone and not work for political special interests. And so we're fighting for social justice, economic justice, and environmental justice, and not necessarily in that order. But how we do that is what we're doing now. We have people who are in the streets, which is very important. We need to put political pressure from the outside, but we also have to do that from the inside. So that means we have to be running candidates who are ready to step up and work for the people, and we can do that with reforming coalitions. So many people who are on this call also are working in solidarity with us, even if it's not directly. But we have to definitely run those candidates who are ready to fight for social justice, fight for economic justice, and fight for social justice. Because even though we can have outside pressure, we have no sure guarantee that they're going to vote in our interests. So if we also have people on the inside, we can also be rest assured that we can have votes in office. We have to take a multiple approach, but we definitely have to vote this upcoming election, but it doesn't stop there. The work continues, and there's a great quote by Michael Moore who said, "Democracy is not a spectator sport; it's a participatory event, and if we don't participate in it, it ceases to be a democracy." And I think that is very true, especially in our sense when we're fighting for healthcare and social justice that has been ignored by many people. And if we continue to fight for those issues, regardless of the results of this election, we'll start seeing wins in various directions. So I'm going to keep mine short because I know we got a lot of speakers, but we have to continue to fight no matter the results, and we have to continue to stay in the streets if we want justice for those who have fallen to police brutality. So again, I appreciate everybody who's out there marching. We need you. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll support you. And thank you to those people who are running for office to fight for the voices who do not always get heard. So thank you again for having me on the call, and I look forward to hearing from the next speakers.
Thank you so much, Andre, for your work, and to all the folks at Our Wisconsin Revolution. Y'all do incredible work, and we're excited to keep the revolution happening right here in our home state. Up next, we have Demario Cooper, who is the National Organizing Director of Black Pac in Akron, Ohio. Demario, thank you so much for being here today. Can you tell us a bit about what your PAC does and why you felt compelled to join today's call?
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, Laura. And I'm just thankful that everybody else here is here and that folks are there on the street, that they're there on the street. Black PAC is a Black Political Action Committee. It is a Black-owned, Black-ran, and Black people focused, Black-led organization that focuses on moving voters, Black people to the polls. But also, we believe that it's going to take consistent political engagement for us. So it's not just these electoral seasons, like electoral season is all season. We believe that we have to engage our people early, often, and really talk to people about the issues that they actually care about. So the fact that we are here right now, close to the election, we know what we're dealing with. We know we got to get, we have to change the leadership in this country. I love what the speaker was saying earlier about, you know, a leader is a person that brings people together, not puts people apart or separates people. The fact that we living in a society, in a country right now where the top of our government is consistently trying to divide the people and actually dividing the folks on the ground. it is time for us to continue to move this movement. 2020 has been a wild year, right? Like everybody knows that 2020 has been crazy, but 2020 is about actually turning the soil, right? Like we're in a year where you got to turn the soil, and I'm a firm believer in like what nature has already shown us is necessary for us to grow new fruit and have new fruit. First, you have to break up the soil. Then you got to turn the soil. Then you got to actually take the nutrients from all the other shit, excuse my language, that has happened and throw that on the soil and then turn that again, right? And then we plant our seeds and grow our seeds and water our seeds, and then we will be able to harvest what we have grown. And Black Pack is an organization that is committed to doing that. It's not just here for it's not a pack that is here for electoral cycle. It's a pack that is planning on long-term engagement, right? We are building a political home for Black people across the country. And the reason why we wanted to join this, and the reason why I'm excited to be here, the reason why my ED, Adrian Shropshire, told me to be here, is because we believe in this type of action, right? We believe that people actually have to be engaged civically year round, that we actually have to take in our own hands the tools to train and teach, and each one teach one how our system works, and how we can strategically intervene at the right points inside of our system and to make the changes we want. And the fact that this action is happening on the first day of early voting is a strategic intervention that we love, that I love, right? And that we actually gotta encourage everybody to go out and vote. Go vote, like somebody else said on thing, whether you upset, disgusted, whatever, go vote. Go let your voice be heard. Make sure you voting, because the more of us that vote, we already know that our instincts are going to vote around the same line, right? Like we're not the people who are interested in hate and division and fear, and we're the people who actually are thinking about a future and want to see a better future and grow a better future. That's going to require us to grow voters, because once we vote, we can put people like the people on this call, like the people who are walking down the street, like the brother who wants to run for mayor, like we can put those people in office. And when those people are in office, then they're going to make the rules. And once the rules change, then we can reallocate the resources. And then we can reallocate the resources to the right place, right? We can grow communities that actually work and function for our society and for the people who live in our society. So Black Pack is definitely like supportive of this action. We are down for this action. And I just want to give folks out there who are doing this work right now on the ground, is like, you are encouraging for me. You are encouraging for other people across the country, for Black people and people of color across the world. This is an encouraging thing that y'all are doing. It is dope. I see snow on somebody's scarf on the screen right now. Like, people are out here in the elements because we know we got to fight for justice, and nothing's going to stop us from doing that. I appreciate y'all. I want y'all to stand strong. I want y'all to be safe, take care of each other. And like somebody said, let's not focus on the negativity. Let's focus on the things we want. Focus on the things that are positive, focus on building the power and using the power that we have already built to continue to change this country, to help our people, to help Black people, and to help people, the majority of our country, who really want to have freedom for all, know that Black lives matter. And if you somebody who say all lives matter, but you don't care that Black lives matter, you contradicting yourself, because if all lives matter, why ain't you mad as the people who out here walking down these streets right now? So I just want to support them, give all my love, energy, and positivity towards that movement. I thank y'all for having us on here. We out.
Thank you so much, Demario. That was incredibly powerful. Thank you so much for all the work that you do in Ohio, and for being here with us in Wisconsin today with the folks marching from Kenosha to Milwaukee on this first day of in-person early voting. We greatly appreciate you. We're very excited to introduce Francesca Hong from Madison, Wisconsin. She is a soon-to-be Assemblywoman for District 76. Francesca, you've been traveling all over the state to help ensure down-ballot candidates win in this upcoming election. Can you please share your thoughts on the importance of this election and why it's so important to get out starting today?
Yes, thank you so much, Laura, and thank you everyone for including me in this space, for sharing your energies, for the folks who are marching. It is incredible. I want to thank you all for your activism, your organizing, and the work you've been doing for Justice for Jacob and to vote Trump out. You know, there is so much at stake in this election. Democracy itself is being threatened by authoritarianism, economic inequality, debilitating polarization, systems that are rooted in white supremacy, and yet y'all are still doing the work every day to fight against these injustices and to fight for communities to have control and self-determination. We are 14 days away from the election, and to be honest, the fatigue is real. We are tired, and I'm here to tell you that that's okay, but we cannot be cynical and we cannot be hopeless. Whenever I feel the fog of cynicism and hopelessness seeping in, I think about unity. And I know there was a previous speaker who spoke to this so powerfully. Look, our cities, our state, our nation is divided at every level, and it's because of failure in leadership in our political institutions. But on the ground, in the neighborhoods, on the streets, this is where unity happens. The only real unity I've seen is in the streets. It's the people in masses calling for defunding the police and investing in Black communities, investing in Indigenous and Brown communities, investing in people and not property. The streets are intergenerational, the streets are multiracial, and the streets are where people take care of one another. You know, I remember a rally held in front of my restaurant, and there was a woman who was struggling. She was visibly upset, she was hurt, and there was a medic that came from the safety team at the rally. And she came over and she assured me that this woman would be taken to the hospital, that they would stay with her, that she would be safe. No cops were called, no ambulances were called. There was community care in action. I'm a Madisonian, and I've seen in this community, Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and Asian communities extremely underserved. Wisconsin has the largest opportunity gap between Black and white students, and it's the most segregated state in our entire nation. We have too much state-sanctioned violence and police brutality, and we've seen it too much in our lifetime. It's time to work towards abolition. It's time to work for liberation. It's time to work for community control. It is happening now. And I know that we can all unite through this demand for equity and for care. But our voices in the streets are just one tool. We have another important tool at our disposal, and that's at the ballot box. We must vote 45 out. In the restaurant industry, when we're out of something, we say it's 86th. And I'd say it's about fucking time we 86 Trump. He represents the utter failure of our government to keep us safe from threats, both viral and systemic. Voting him out this November is not a question of whether we do it or not. It is a question of how much we are willing to do to protect the democracy we have and protect the lives we care about. These are absurd times, but it is in these times of strife that there is great opportunity for change. It's change that can only be brought on by activists and organizers like y'all. It is being an activist that is living in the intersection of grief and hope. It's being an activist that at your core, that knowing your action can enact change. You hold power, and with this power, I am asking everyone not only to vote for yourself, but to vote for community and to share your power and consider asking 5 family members, coworkers, friends to make a plan to vote. Yes, Wisconsin is hurting and we are tired, but that doesn't mean there is no way forward. Let's be mindful and find actionable solutions that disassemble which hurts our communities at its root. Let's tackle climate change, homelessness, racism, and guarantee a brighter future for our most vulnerable. We can celebrate America by saving it, and that is the single most important issue right now. So I ask y'all to keep fighting, to keep working, to keep marching to preserve our democracy, preserve our shared humanity, and to preserve hope. And thank you again so much for sharing your space with me today.
Francesca, thank you so much. You have been so incredibly inspiring to so many of us here in Wisconsin, and we are very proud of the work that you do and will continue to do in the legislature. We're just very glad to hear from you today, and thank you again for your inspiring words. The movement for Black Lives is a movement that extends beyond America's borders, as racism is a problem around the world. Carol Amaral is calling from Manaus, Brazil, and she is the chair of the Amazon Commission for Racial Equality. Carol, thanks so much for joining us today. Please tell us about the global movement for Black Lives and what you'd like to share with the leaders in Kenosha and throughout America on the movement for Black Lives.
First of all, I would like to thank you all for the opportunity of speaking here today. I was invited by James and I had the honor to conduct an interview with him about the Black Lives Matter movement here in Brazil, specifically here in Amazonas, which is my state. For those who are not acquainted, I live in Manaus, Amazonas in Brazil. It's the North region, and it is the most separate region from the great metropolis. And people basically think we live inside of the jungle, but no, we have a whole city here, and we have problems. We have issues like every single other cities. We suffer too from police brutality. And I would like to say that my thoughts and prayers are with everyone in the walk and with Jacob Blake and his family. And there were such amazing speakers before. And I would just like to first introduce myself. My name is Ana Carolina Amaral. I am Brazilian. 29 years old, and currently I am presiding the Brazilian Bar Association, the Commission for Racial Equity here in Amazonas. And we work with lawyers and with interns, and we also use the platform to communicate with the society, with the community, in order to try and bring some light in racial issues and racial inequality and police brutality and other issues that affect the Black community here in Amazonas. Talking about police brutality here in Brazil, we've just received the 2020 Annuary of Violence, and we have an absurdly increasing in violence against the Black community. It's currently right now 79.1% of young men killed by police brutality are men of color, which means basically that 8 out of 10 men slaughtered by the police are Black. And when you transpond that thought to the police force, 65% of the police that die in combat are Black. So we have a systemic issue. It's structural racism, it's institutional racism. And our Supreme Court has decided that during the pandemics, police officers in the state of Rio de Janeiro, for example, can conduct operations, and the operations are still happening. Yesterday, we had operations in 4 different favelas across the city, and we don't know how many innocent people were killed, or how many innocent people were taken from their homes, or how many people lost their loved ones. And this happens here on a daily basis. We also have a fascist and racist president here in Brazil. Jair Bolsonaro represents everything that we stand against: sexism, racism, liberalism. It's saddening that our country has reached this level of, I don't know, it's crazy, it's absurd. Watching his interviews, watching him speak, and watching people defend him. The right has risen in this country in a way that we never thought it was possible, and it's really similar to what's happening in the US. And you have right now the opportunity to change that, to shift that, and we're gonna have that opportunity within 2 years. So please don't wait for another 4 years. Just do it now. Vote Trump out. And I speak to all the white people that are watching. Racism is a white people problem. You have to deal with it. You have to solve it. You have to recognize your racism, and you have to stand with Black people. You have to go to the streets and fight for the lives that matter. And I just want to say that we are tired. Brazil is tired. The United States are tired. Nigeria is tired. The world is tired. We have to end racism right now. Justice for Jacob Blake and for every single Black person who lost their lives or lost a loved one in this crazy war. And Black Lives Matter. Please vote Trump out. Fora Bolsonaro. And I would like to thank you all for the opportunity. And I wish all the luck to the people in the rally. I hope that you stay safe. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you much, Carol. Again, for highlighting the fact that racism, the patriarchy, these systems of oppression are not exclusive to America. They are global issues, pandemics that must be abolished, must be slayed. So thank you for sharing your global perspective. You are standing in solidarity with the folks of Wisconsin today, and um, the people of Wisconsin are standing in solidarity with you and the people of Brazil. And we hope
Thank you so
for a victory in a couple of years to get your fascist dictator out.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next, we have Cindy Wiesner, Executive Director of Grassroots Global Justice Alliance based out of North Carolina. Cindy, thank you so much for joining us. Can you please tell us a bit about Grassroots Global Justice Alliance, and what's your reaction to everything that you've heard thus far on today's call?
Yeah, so just want to start off with deep just solidarity and saludos, both to our compañeras, compañerex in the streets, taking this walk, this amazing walk from Kenosha to Milwaukee, and also to our international allies. And so it is so good to be following our sister from Brazil, because Grassroots Global Justice Alliance is an alliance that really begins to think about how we connect our struggles here, the struggles that we fight against, from police brutality, against ICE, against evictions, for climate justice, for racial justice, for gender justice, for economic justice, in the context of a globalized world order, right? And that we understand that our liberation is intimately tied to the liberation of peoples all across the globe. And part of that is really thinking about how we promote grassroots internationalism, right? The multiracial organizing that has to happen and has been happening in this country for forever, for decades, but even more so in this moment of colliding crises, and then and being able to build across borders, right? Being able to build across language, across sectors, across peoples. And so just want to say to the folks walking and marching and getting communities to speak their issues and to speak their demands. I think we just want to say on behalf of our alliance, just super proud to be in solidarity with you all, and really talking about this political moment, right? This political moment of the colliding crises, not only the crisis of the environment, the crisis of the economy, this pandemic crisis, this health crisis, but the crisis of democracy, right? And that we see the suppression of what's happening. You know, people waiting in line as early voting starts for 11 hours is part of voter suppression, right? And we need to be able to defend our democracy, but redefine what democracy means in a lot of ways. And it means participatory democracy, where our communities have a say of where money gets invested, right? Where we get to divest from things like the police, we get to divest from the extractive economy, we get to divest from a bad sort of educational system and invest into what we actually need, like climate jobs, like relevant education, free, university and college, housing for all, and also communities that have access to water, have access to clean sort of air, and that actually have an ability to have a say for what it is that we so desperately need, but also deserve. And I think that I just want to say that for us, you know, we think that this election is probably one of the most important elections in our lifetime at this moment, right? And I think for us, we think that it's important to acknowledge that this election is coming on the cusp of the largest protest movement in U.S. history, right? With the Black movement in formation and leadership under a multiracial bloc, right? And that has transformed popular consciousness, that has really consolidated opinions, and that scaled up to just unprecedented levels. And I think that one of these things is that we have to be able to think about how to continue that mobilization, not only through this November 3rd, but beyond. And how do we think about the things that we know that our communities have been demanding, things like the Breathe Act, things like the Green New Deal. We work on both of those around defunding police and divesting and investing at the local and statewide levels, right? Around a people's bailout, not a corporate bailout. And we know that a piece of this fight is we got to defeat Trumpism, right? And weaken white supremacy at all levels. But we also have to push the Biden-Harris Dem camp around the desires and demands of social movements. And that ultimately we know that people on the streets in our communities, like this walk, like the Justice for Jacob campaign, are the main political protagonists, right? And need to continue to be so. And I think that we need to be able to push for radical governance at all levels and get ourselves and pivot into an offensive, right? Because I think that's going to be really important. It can't be like 4 years, no matter what the outcome is, we need to have our communities organized. We need to be able to defend our communities, protect our communities, but we also need to be able to build on the momentum that we've been building. And so we, support the visionary demands that I've heard on this phone call, the visionary agenda. I think it's an invitation for us to continue cohering our forces and to really continue in our joint practice, all right? Demanding justice for compañeros like Jacob, right? Demanding justice for all the Black bodies, all the folks that have been killed, all the children that are still in cages, the women that have been forced sterilization, right, and detention, to political prisoners. And I think it's important for us to find the interconnections, but also be able to think about that all our connections are happening differently in different communities and different constituencies, but ultimately there's a root cause that we all are fighting against that we have in common. And so with that, I'm just really happy and proud to share this space with you all, sending a lot of love for the walkers. We're following you, we're amplifying your messaging and this heroic walk. And we're going to be there with you as the evolution of the Justice for Jacob campaign takes off. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. We greatly appreciate you calling in all the way from North Carolina. Thank you for sharing all the work that you all do. Up next, we have Eric Mann, who is calling in from South Central Los Angeles. He's the executive director of the Labor Community Strategy Center and is a longtime organizer. Eric, what are your thoughts on the activism you're seeing today here in Wisconsin? Oh, did we lose Eric? We might have lost Eric. Okay. Sorry about that, folks.
No, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay. Eric lost you. I got a little screwed up on the technology. This is very historic. My name is Eric Mann. I've been in the civil rights and Black movement since 1964 with the Congress of Racial Equality. I don't believe this is the largest outpouring of protest. I think the largest outpouring of protest is when 200 Black slaves freed themselves in the Civil War, imagine, and went to the North, armed themselves, and were the central factor in how the North won the so-called Civil War. And from 1865 to 1872, they had a Reconstruction, only to be thrown back into slavery by the North selling them out. Then I was involved in the civil rights movement, which was greater than today's moment by far. Went on for 20 years, won major concessions. And again, the North sold out the Black movement. The Democrats sold out the Black movement. And we're in a catastrophe right now. Now, today's a tremendous opening but I think it's important to not think the present is always the most important thing without understanding the past. That's the first thing. Second is that I work in South Central with a group called the Labor Community Strategy Center, and we actually are a significant force talking about stopping the US imperialist white settler state. And I think unless we use a context like that, that there's a structural, it's not even racism, it's national oppression and subjugation rooted in 1492. If we don't grasp that, then we're going to be talking about social justice, racial justice in the middle of a white settler state, which has no intention of giving us what we want. We saw armed white vigilantes take over in Michigan and try to kidnap the governor. They were not shot in the back. They were not chained to the hospital bed like Jacob Blake, who did nothing. They are being represented by counsel. If Black people rose up in Michigan like that, there would be a national crackdown on Black people in every city in the country. Hundreds and thousands of Black people would be arrested. Hundreds and thousands would be shot because that's an insurrection, what these white people did. But it's not an insurrection because it's inside the white settler state, and that's what most of them want. So let's talk about the present. Jacob Blake is a beautiful person. I've been talking to Justin. I've been talking to Greg and talking to Tanya, who are doing amazing work. This march today is amazing about justice for Jacob and turning out the vote. Wisconsin is a swing state. We gotta have Wisconsin. I am working in LA, phone banking into Florida, into swing states. I'm gonna try to be on the phone, as much as we can. I want to end with this around what we call demand development at the Strategy Center. We just won, you can imagine, a 35% cut in the Los Angeles School Police Department under defunding the police. We had a motion for a 50% cut. The Strategy Center has, at this point, 4 50% we want you to think about. Cut police by 50% now. Cut the cut the U.S. military budget and the 800 military bases by 50% now. 50% of all new jobs, public and private, must go to Black applicants, and the U.S. must cut its emissions of climate change and greenhouse gases by 50% now. By putting together racial, it's not just racial justice, it's national liberation. During the 60s, we had an anti-colonial frame. Black people talked about seceding from the United States. Indigenous people were trying to secede and get self-determination. They already seceded. Mexicans were talking about seceding from the United States. Any effort to believe the United States is one viable nation state plays into the white settler state. And I think talking and reconstructing an anti-colonial view of what happened to Jacob, imagine chaining him to his bed. It's just almost heartbreaking, but we're going to win. And I think what the sister said is, Nina said, first we have to defeat neo-fascism, and right next to it, we got to go after neoliberalism. Thanks for James for inviting me. Thank you for the sharing you're doing. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's historic, and thanks.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your strong words. Absolutely, the way that you broke that down was very enlightening, and we all appreciate your activism, your organizing. It's incredible work that y'all did with the Los Angeles school board and the budget there. It's moments and wins like that surely keep us motivated to keep fighting. So thank you for all the work that you do and for joining us today on this historic occasion. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
All right. Our next guest is Nico Moore, who is an educator, artist, and activist from Kenosha, but is calling in from Minneapolis. We can see that with
yes,
with
very
the
much so.
that you're
Yeah.
experiencing. Nico, you're the founder of the More Love movement. We're so honored to have you today with us. Thank you so much for standing in solidarity with your hometown today. It's my understanding that you'll be reading a poem, which we're very excited to hear. So whenever you're ready, we are all ears.
Yeah, I want to just show y'all something real quick. I'm actually in George Floyd Square here in Minneapolis, representing. Around here, there's just work being done continuously to keep this space sacred. The space is really a global movement. There's people coming from all over the country, coming here to George Floyd Square, staying in solidarity with just community and with the world, with our fight against oppression and police brutality. And one thing I've learned from living near here is that we all have roles. We all have roles in this revolution. And I look back at Kenosha, as much as I want to be there, I know I have a role here. My mom is there in Kenosha. I'm a part of a bunch of different organizations that are in Kenosha. And I see Greg, I see Jacob, I see my mom, I see Alvin Owens, I see a bunch of people just playing their roles. Everybody on this call playing their roles to perfection at this point. I mean, we can't ask for much more from ourselves, but to just continue to do what we're doing. So I'm gonna do this poem that's been just on my heart since I've first came out here after George Floyd was murdered, and continues to be in my heart. And I wish it would not be relevant, but it will be until we get what we need, until we get the justice. No justice, no streets is what we say here. That's why this street that I'm on is blocked off. No buses, no traffic has been in the street for the last 3 months, maybe longer. Keys to the door to freedom. Keys to the door to freedom. I'm a key, you're a key. He's the key, she's the key. We all are keys to freedom. The first step is to connect our mind, bodies, and souls. With all that together, we're worth more than gold. Stay true to ourselves and to the world as a whole. Rip our skin off and expose our soul. Make living life the goal and realize we all are keys. Because they tried to bury us, but they were unaware that we were seeds. We grew from rocks and hard places, determined to be freed. We collectively agreed to gain strength from pain and hurt. We will thrive because our existence is work. We work to stay on that land which we were birthed by the sun. We work to survive from that land we were taken from. We work to live how others were allowed to live. We work to vote, have proper education for our kids. We worked and are still working today to regain the understanding of our history that's been burned, lost, and locked away. And we must work hard to bring back those that have gone astray because we work too hard for us to end up this way. We work too hard to have our dreams turn into nightmares. We work too hard to be treated equal and fair. No, we must work. Do only positive work for the future to see. Because it took work to get freedom for you and me, it's going to take generations of work to stay free. Keys to the door to freedom. Keys to the door to freedom. I'm a key, you're a key. He's the key, she's the key. We all are keys to freedom. Peace and blessings. Power. Love. I see you, Mom. Minneapolis to Kenosha. The next one we should do a Minneapolis to Kenosha.
Hey, Nico.
What up? Love y'all.
Hey, Nico.
Peace. Thank y'all. Thanks for
Can't hear you.
I unmuted him.
Oh.
Nico, you got some folks from
His mom.
That is mom, Laura.
That's your mom.
Yes.
Love you.
Hey, Mama, you must be so proud of your son.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
You see where he gets it from, his mom. She's out here in the street.
Hey,
Yes.
out there.
I done walk, baby.
Hey, stay strong.
Yes. All right, we gotta go.
Keep moving. Let's do it.
Thank you so much, Nico, for that powerful performance. Much love to you, and stay strong and stay warm in Minneapolis.
Thank you.
Okay. Finally, we have Uncle Jacob Blake. We're honored to have Justin Blake with us this afternoon.
Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Hey.
Oh man, 30 some miles later, we've been from Kenosha through Racine. We got one more stop at the park about an hour and a half from here. And then we're in Cudahy, and then we'll be downtown Milwaukee. It's been an incredible trip. A great deal of bonding went on with the different people that came on board. These organizations are incredible. Lock and Black Underground Recycling and the Lutheran Church, and Peace in the Streets, and just everybody that was involved has been terrific to the Blake family since we've been down here. And we're committed to helping them make change in Kenosha and in Wisconsin at large. So we had a tremendous turnout. These people are incredible. I mean, we're so blessed to be around people that are so committed. Who wakes up at 12 at night and says, I'm gonna walk to Milwaukee from Kenosha. So they're either a little crazy, or really committed. I think it's a little bit of both, and it's a good crazy. So we've had a great march. We're getting ready to rally with the Bucks at our next stop, and some other organizations join us from Milwaukee as we take it on in the last 3 miles into downtown Milwaukee. So we're blessed. Little Jake just called us like 4 or 5 days ago while we were in IKEA, and he said, Uncle, I love you. Great job. So we got enough fuel and energy to carry on till we get justice, till we get this man fired, till we get an indictment, until we get a conviction. We're at a crucial turning point for the nation at large, and we believe little Jake's case will impact all the little Jakes around the country. So we got to get it right here. So we continue to throw events, partner with different people in order to get the outcome that we need. We were also real glad that we could join the voting registration process, which we've done for the last, I think, 4 weeks or more. And so we've registered a lot of people, and today we're putting it in Milwaukee's face. And
150.
What's that, baby? We registered 150 people in the last couple of weeks, which is totally awesome. And today we're really pushing it out to Milwaukee and everybody in Wisconsin to get out and vote.
Thank you so much for all your incredible work. The fact that your family, Tanya, Greg, everyone has just been nonstop. It's just truly incredible. You called it maybe being a little crazy. An earlier speaker said, this is innovative. Call it what you want, but you all are inspiring. The fact that you have been marching since midnight, you're dedicating so much time and energy to get people out to vote. There's really no excuse for people not to exercise their right to vote. So many generations have fought for the right to vote, and we can't take it for granted.
Not at all.
Thank you so much for sharing the space with us and with the world. Truly, the world is watching and demanding justice for Jacob Blake, for your family, for all the victims of police brutality and racism. We greatly appreciate you and all the work that you continue to do. Make sure you all are taking care of yourselves. I see you got some food and drink, and I'm really glad to see that. Make sure you keep doing it. Make sure you rest.
They have these people called angels. What are they called? Walk angels that at every stop had a table there before we got there, had great food and snacks before we got there. Sorry about that. How can we get that out of? Oh, did I do something wrong? How do we get that back?
Lord.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, it's all good. No.
All right, I'm not a computer guy. I was trying to get that out of your way. So, I mean, you can feel the vibration and the change that's in the air. We just got to keep driving it home to our people, because there's been such a rough way to go that they got to, can you get that out of here? Yeah, see, that's what I did. Oh, hey. So we just got to continue to push forward. We got to continue. We united Kenosha, Racine, and Milwaukee today via our walk. And we're going to continue to join people together and not turn them away. And we believe we can have a tremendous impact on this election and on the way our nation sees people like little Jake that look like us from here forward. And if we can do that, then it was worth everything we've been through. Excuse us.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. Again, not just for today, but all the work that you're doing, and special shout out to all those. What are they called again?
Walk angels.
Walk angels.
You know, when we chant
My
like,
bad.
this is
Yeah,
what community looks like. This is what community looks like,
that's
right?
right.
This
That's
is
right.
what unity looks like, solidarity looks like, democracy looks like. So special shout out to all the folks who are keeping our marchers fed and hydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you all. Well, that about wraps up our online segment for today. For those who are in the Milwaukee area who'd like to welcome the Brave Marchers, you can meet them at Red Arrow Park at 920 North Water Street in Milwaukee. They should be arriving around 6
Hold on one second.
this evening. Again,
Everybody get over the shoulder.
Red Arrow Park at 920 North Water Street in Milwaukee at 6 o'clock. Again, special thank you to the Blake family, the people of Kenosha, our guest speakers, James Berkey, Josiah
I'll be right there.
Bill Lachemacher. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, Bill, for all your technical support behind the scenes. And thank you to all who joined us from home. We appreciate you standing in solidarity with the people of Kenosha, of Wisconsin. Thank you so much again. Take care, everyone. Love you, Tanya. You're muted. We can't hear you. Hold on. Unmute.
Bye, Laura.
We love y'all. Big ups to the red, the black, and the green. Unity now. One Africa. Peace.
Peace. Solidarity. Love you.
All
Bye.
right. All the way down.
Take care, y'all.
All right.
Care.